My reflections are very simple and complex at the same time. First of all, this is a unique museum. Unique, speaking of art, of concept, but mostly speaking of the substance of it. I mean, the fight against apartheid, for freedom, for democracy, for so long in South Africa, but meaning a fight that is universal all over the world. But for me, personally, it's also very, very meaningful on one hand because I'm president of a country that has been an empire, a colonial empire, with colonies nearby, Mozambique and Angola. And I had the experience of having lived for a while in Mozambique at the time of the apartheid, coming to Johannesburg and coming to South Africa and being shocked as a teenager of something that was inhuman, against all human rights, against human dignity. And when in our country, I myself assumed the responsibility, the historic responsibility of my state for centuries of imperialism and colonialism.
And we saw, Mr. President, you hinted when you had the Brazilian president, Lula da Silva, where you were talking about these experiences.
Yes, of course. And when I speak with President João Lourenço and Yussi from other countries, we are brothers. And we speak of these experiences because they are not just experiences of the past. And happily, things come back later on. And as memory is short for younger generations, new movements, new ideas, new ideologies appear.
And how do you
that mean going back to another vision of history that we must avoid, because it would be something like not preparing a future and the future of freedom and democracy by going back to dictatorship, going back to apartheid or to racist, xenophobic regime. So that's why it's so important today, not just to recall it as a past, but as a lesson for the future.
A topical issue, Mr. President, Ukraine, you have been very clear that it's about territorial integrity. It should be respected at all times, especially by a superpower like the Russian Federation.
I think so. I think so as a principle. I had the same position concerning Western occupations of territories in other states. I mean, Portuguese leading personalities, former presidents, have fought American or European interventions in countries all over the world. So this is a principle of the Charter of the United Nations. Either you respect it, or if you don't respect it, you open the door for something that is the impossibility of living in an international community. You must accept some rules. So I hope we can build peace and build it thinking of other continents, of the sufferings on account of inflation or of economic crisis, but trying to respect international rules, human rights, and the sovereignty of the states.
All right. Thank you so much, Mr. President. Of course, that's the Portuguese president, really just talking about his experience here at the Apartheid Museum, a very poignant place because of the history that is well preserved here about the atrocities that were committed right here in South Africa. But of course now it is a democratic country and so much has happened since. Khayelihle Khumalo, SABC News, Johannesburg.